Yes. People, Power, and Profits.
Wow. What'd you think?
So we talked about this a little bit before we got on the pod. When it comes down to it, it's pretty generic.
Yeah.
It seems like a book for a 16-year-old.
Yes.
Like who maybe has heard from their parents a little bit on politics, but hopefully it's like for someone who has a completely clean mind to politics. It's like, let me tell you how things work. But it doesn't really go that it goes in depth, mildly in depth on the problems.
Yeah.
Like I feel very like it helped. It explained wealth inequality, income inequality, rent seeking, as problems extremely well.
Yeah.
But even like once you get into the more specifics, how we got there, like I think the globalization, the financialization maybe was a strength of a chapter.
Yeah.
But globalization and the impacts of technology kind of seemed all over the place. It didn't give me a really solid grasp.
I agree.
And then the solutions that we just described,
bare bones,
very bare bones. It's like these are the ideas, but you don't get into the implementation at all. And it's kind of like, oh, they sound good, but someone with kind of any inkling of skepticism, I think, is going to read this and going to be hard to believe it.
Totally.
Just because it sounds like someone who was in the Obama administration. It sounds like someone who's deeply anti-Trump, whose biases are coming through in the writing. And so as I read that, I'm like, okay, these could be good ideas, but I will have to do a lot more reading into them.
To check and make sure that these things are accurate. And he cites all of his sources.
Yeah.
A lot of references. I checked a lot of them. They're great. But I don't think that, I don't think this book gave the details necessary to really chart out an agenda the way that he kind of wanted this book to be. He really emphasized that he wants this book to be like a progressive Bible that you can take with you and say, this is what I believe. It's just not like that. It doesn't have the same, it doesn't have a blueprint. And well, you know what? It's like taking an anatomy class, but you only learn about the skeleton.
Sure.
You know?
Okay.
You don't know like how everything works on top of that. And you don't know about the hiccups that might come up with implementing such a policy.
Yeah.
He doesn't ever talk about the hiccups. He never says this is what we need to do, but there is this issue that we need to address.
Yes.
He just says this is what we need to do.
Yes. Or if he does say there's this issue we need to address, he doesn't necessarily address it.
True.
He just says there's this problem and that, but he still is like, but we should still probably go towards this policy.
Right. Like how did something go wrong?
No, it's oh, I think it's still okay. It just was a low battery.
Oh, okay.
Wording.
Okay.
Which hopefully won't.
Tell me when you're ready. You want to angle it a little differently?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. So I just don't think that the book is detailed enough to really be able to chart out a whole agenda.
Yeah.
I think it was a good introduction for a liberal-minded person. But if you're even slightly conservative, you're never going to read this.
Exactly.
Ever.
Yeah.